Welcome. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the plug Power Living Under God. I am your host, Felicia Williams, and in this place, you can expect to be given grace, given hope, and encouraged that God will change your life. Here on the plug, we keep the main thing the main thing. We put God first. Yes. Get ready for an inspiring, encouraging conversation as you join me today here on the plug. Hey, y'all. Hey. Now, during our conversation, you will hear me say, I got 5 on it. Now, just so that you will know where that comes from, this one of my favorite songs. And so I just use that part of the song. I got 5 on it. That just stands for you giving a donation if you desire. If God places that on your heart, your $5 donation will go to children and youth and families who are homeless for educational purposes, those children and youth and families who may need food, just who need some support. We are here to connect our families through grace, through love, and through hope. That's what the 5 has to do with. I got 5 on it. So let us get started and get plugged in to our topic today. Well, friends, today our topic is very dear to my heart because we're going to be talking about our senior saints or our seniors who need cared for, parents parenting. And they could very well not even be a senior, but parent parenting. So we're going to begin with just talking about this quote. You might have heard it before. Once an adult, twice a child. Once an adult, twice a child. Hello, everyone. Now, when children are born, when you and I were born, everybody was excited. There was joy. Then we go through life, right? I call it the dash, the middle part. Towards the end, y'all, we should be just as joyous as we are helping our parents. Yes, it's the change of life. Our parents now need us, whether they are sick, whether they are just ailing in their bodies or just aging. It's a real thing. And we need to get to a place to embrace it. That seasons change, time change, and as this quote, once an adult, twice a child. Because see, children in the beginning, when you and I were children, we needed our parents, right? What do we need them for? We needed them for love, support, to help us walk, help us talk. So today, we're going to help our sisters and brothers be encouraged as we are now having to give back to our parents what they've given us. So I want you to stay right here, pause, and think about that for a moment. Because life is not rushed. Sometimes we rush it by doing 101 things, but the truth of the matter is, it's a time and a place for everything under the sound of God, right? So sometimes during this conversation, we're going to pause because we need the time to think about that. Maybe you're not being a caregiver at this time, but maybe your time is coming like myself. I'm not a caregiver in a sense where my mother is not able, but there are some things I am um, caring for my mother in a sense. That could be even in technology. That could be if your parent is asking you for directions and having to use the AI and the Gemini. Just there are these times our parents need us. So it's different phases of it, if you will. They may not be sick, but even if they are, we want to support one another. And how do we do that well? How do we, as parents, now are parenting our own parents? Life is a journey. Wouldn't you agree? It's a journey. It's not that we need to concentrate on the destination. We need to be present on the journey. And on this journey, there are stages of life. And each stage impacts the other. Whether you're on with me now, if you're 20 or if you're 30, 40, 50, or if you're 12, each one of these stages impacts the other. And in each stage, y'all, we go through different experiences. But what I want us to think about today, those experiences are either getting us closer to God or farther away from God. Preferably our parents, because in their senior stage, they're getting closer. And we're not here to say, because we don't know who's going to go first. All we're saying is in the season that we're in, if you happen to be in that season where you are having to help your parent, or maybe your parent may have already gone home to be with the Lord, and you have an aunt or an uncle who's still here. Senior saints is what I call them. Seasoned saints. We call them seasoned because they've been where you and I may be trying to go, in the sense that they've entered a season in their life that we haven't yet got to. And if the truth be told, when we talk about grace, I don't know about you, but I want someone, if the Lord says the same, that I live to see 79, that's the age of my mom, or 80. I have an aunt who turned 80 yesterday. I have an aunt who's 90. If I live to see those ages, I would hope that someone, preferably my children, but whomever, grandchildren, will be able to do for me what I did for them. My 79-year-old mother is with us today on the chat. Hi, Mom. And I'm grateful that she's able to get on. But we just want to think about, slow down and think about, are you giving back what was given to you? Last week, we had some commenters. That's what they wanted to share. They wanted to talk about they needed support. They're having to care for their parents, parents who have dementia or Alzheimer. How do you support those caregivers? Well, we here at the Plug, we're connecting you, men and women, to the power of God first and foremost. But then, our faith got to have some feet, what they look like. So we're here today to talk about that. And if you have some experience in it, by all means, go ahead and support in the chat. Here is a comment. We all must keep in mind that we all will be needing some help in our lives. So parenting, your parents should come with no excuses. None. And I think it requires for us, those caregivers who are already doing it at this time, to pause, get to a silent place and slow down and reflect on not today, but reflect on yesterday. Reflect on your yesterday, your yesteryears when you were in school and you needed transportation. Reflect on your yesteryears when you needed, and I needed somebody to feed me. Your yesteryears when you had homework and you didn't know what to do and how to do it, and your parent or your aunt or your uncle took the time to help you. So now here we are, without excuse. We need to help our seasoned and our seasoned saints. I want to show you something. It's in the word. In Leviticus 19 and 32, look what it says. Stand up in the presence of the aged. Show respect. I'm going to slow down like my pastors usually say. We run across these words. Let's just slow down. Show respect. If you and I know anything about today, that's what our young people need to be reminded to respect. Show respect for the elderly and revere your God. I am the Lord. That's the Lord speaking to you and I, that we should stand up in the presence of the aged. Show respect. God requires that we show respect to those who showed us respect as children. Yes, they did when they took care of us. Oftentimes, the seasoned saints in the church are forgotten. The seasoned saints in our families, they're forgotten. The seasoned saints on our jobs are forgotten. Yeah, there's some seasoned saints still working, but if we get beside ourselves and we multitask, we done multitask right past our senior saints. Let you and I both, all of us, remember that they paved the way for us. So we now need to give back. And so we're here again today, supporting our sisters and our brothers who are caregivers, who are, asking for support, looking for ways for relief at times. So we're going to give some tips today on how to do that. Hello, everyone. And here's a comment. And we call ourselves Christians. Ouch. If you can't say amen, say ouch. We call ourselves Christians. How can I not parent my parent? Because you do know God is our ultimate parent. He parents us all day, every day, all ages. He keep a watch over us. When we don't want to be kept, want to be watched, he's still watching us. That's like a loving parent. So how can we call ourselves believers and not care for our parents? And I know some of you may be saying, you don't know what my parent did to me, but when I was this or when I was that, they didn't do this. Let me remind you, let the plug put a plug in it. Because remember, I said we are given grace. See, grace has been given to us. We got to give grace to our parents and to those caregivers who are caring for parents who have Alzheimer's or dementia. They may not know your name. Don't take that offense. Remember, that may be just the disease or the sickness. You know your mom or your dad know your name. They named you. It's just a thought. Sit down and think about it. Don't charge it to them for calling you somebody else's name. Remember, charge it to the sickness. I have a comment. Yura from Dallas says, I'm a caregiver for my mom with dementia. I'm learning that it's okay to prioritize my care needs sometimes. So thank you, Yura, for commenting. And what Yura is saying is, though she's embraced that she's giving back to her mom, but now too, in this season, she's learned that it's okay to prioritize her care. Why is that important? Because how can you effectively care if you're worn out? How can you effectively care and give your parent what they need if you're not caring for you? That self-care, that's important. And if you have family members, and we're going to get to that more in our conversation, if you have a support system, if it's your biological family, your church family, your friend group, I think sometimes we do like we do our children. When our children were younger, what we do is we are overprotective, and rightfully so. But first and foremost, pray. God will send your way people, if you don't have the family support, people who are like your family, who will step in and give you, an hour or two or whatever that looks like. I think sometimes we don't open our mouth. A closed mouth doesn't get fed the support that he or she needs. Thank you, Yura, for that. Absolutely. Prioritize your care, because you can't care if you're not taking care of yourself. We have Diane says self-care is the best care. I like that. Self-care is the best care, because then you're fueling yourself to help the parent and to help others. All right. Thank y'all. Here's some tips for parenting your parents. We've already talked about the first one. Take care of yourself. We kind of discussed the other one. Get what? Support, support, support. We live in a world where everything is like, individualized. My. But we really need to live in community, y'all, which we need to ask. You have not because you ask now. We need to ask for support. And then we often talk about the village, and we say the village is no more. I still believe, and I said this last week, we can create the village. It just doesn't look the same. But village just means support. Let's support one another. We may not be on the same block, knocking on doors for sugar, but it looks like this. I may knock on your door by sending you a message, whether that's a text, a DM, picking up the phone to call you, or sitting next to you in a service or on the job, wherever, and having a conversation with you about me caring for my parent, you caring for your parent, whatever the case may be. And then you, in turn, tell me something about the subject matter of parenting our parents. That support, y'all. Making a schedule with your sisters or your brothers. If not your sisters and your brothers, your cousin and them. Yes, your cousin and them. If not your cousin and them, come on, call the family in. Support. Because love is an action word. Let's not gather together like we often do. We will at a homegoing. Let's gather together in supporting our loved ones while they're here, supporting our sisters and brothers who are caregiving, to providing care to our parents. That goes a long way. Supporting them by calling them up and praying with them and asking, how can I help you today? How can I help you as you are providing care for your mom? The third one is acceptance of your new role. That kind of goes back with Yura commented when she said she prioritized her self-care, and she learned that it's okay. That just means she too has accepted her role. Acceptance is key. You got to accept where you are in this life. You got to accept what season that you're in. Even our parents, sometimes, if you haven't witnessed this, our parents, our seasoned saints, sometimes it's hard for some to accept where they are as they age. So what you and I can do is pray about that and help them feel comfortable and not minimize. If anything, we can encourage them. How do we do that? By thinking about how they were there for us. Be assertive. You may need to tell your parents what to do. Now, this one right here, y'all, hear me well. I'm going to put my hand on my head for this one. You might have to tell your parent what to do. Oh, Lord. This is the one. If your parent is coherent, has the cognitive ability, and even sometimes when I know some of my friends who are caring for their parents, the ones who may have dementia, Alzheimer's, sometimes, trying to tell them what to do, they rear back like the parents they are. And I know my mother, she's good at saying, don't tell me what to do. Well, whoa, sis. Now, remember when you told me what to do, and I'm laughing about it, but it really is an eye opener. When life changes, seasons change, you have to be assertive and tell your parents what to do, even though you will get, not if, you will get the backlash. Even I can say that honestly with my children trying to say this, that, or the other, telling me something, I'm quick to be like, listen, who is the mama? Okay, but we don't want to go there. We need to embrace it, that it's okay for our children to tell us what to do. And it's okay for us to be assertive with our parents in what? In love. In love, because they were very, don't you know, they were assertive with us, right? In more ways than one. So now it's our time to be assertive with them. And last but not least, and this was not the last one, but just as we're going through these tips, pay attention to all of the things that your parent is saying, to the details, to the basics. Pay attention to it. To do that, you have to really be attentive. So we're going to move on to some more tips. Make sure you comment. And just so that you'll know, your 5 on it for the plug is donations for families who need support, children and youth, homeless, mentorship, and to support, even like today, those caregivers who are giving support, where we can go in and help in some way by giving them resources that we are connected to. That's what the plug is, connecting you to the power. The power's in God, and then God uses resources. God is the source, and we, the people, are the resources. I have another comment. Felicia, I even helped my friend with his mom, knowing he needs a break mentally and physically. I think that's beautiful. That's what friendship is for. He that has a friend must first show himself to be what? Friendly. It's one thing, y'all, to talk about it, a pair of lips to say anything. But can we really be the hands and the feet of God to be there for people in their time of need? That's what the world needs today. All right, here's some more tips. Here's one that often is neglected in the fact that we're not proactive. We're usually reactive, and that's to prepare financially. We all need to be doing that if we haven't done that already, to prepare financial documents. I think, if I'm gonna be honest, y'all, the reason why, and I've had to do this, even me and my mom have done some of these things, it's the reality. When you start to prepare, you're starting to talk about it, it's a little, eerie, because it's like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. But knowledge is power, and we need to talk about it, and we need to be responsible and steward our parents well, and steward the things that they've worked hard for, steward it well. How do we do that? We prepare. No, we don't know what tomorrow will bring, but we know who holds tomorrow. We need to prepare. That simply means where if there's some legal personnel, we need to get in contact with lawyers. If we need to get a hold of funeral homes. And like I said before, no, we don't know who's going first. We don't know. But what we know is if we prepare, then we're ready, and we ain't got to get ready. That's what we know. That's what we're saying. And that, my friends, that's a blessing in itself, that our parents can feel the love that we are preparing, helping them prepare. And I just believe that even in our parents who may be suffering from any illness, but those illnesses that affect the mind, where they may not remember or go in and out, I still believe in the power of the spirit, where they can feel your spirit in the room. They can feel the love of their children. You can't tell me there's not a power on this earth that's strong enough to cause a mother not to sense that child that she's carried for 9 months that's in the room. I just believe, and even if it's not a child, y'all, love is powerful. You do know that God is love. So when we begin to support, whether you are not a biological child, but you're supporting your friend, I believe those who we're supporting can feel that love. And some way and somehow they can thrive a little longer and they can be comforted a little longer because they feel the love in the room. Someone says, although we want to be protective of them, we should honor that they may want to remain independent. We can still be there for them. Absolutely. That's from your girl Cream. You're right. Because independence is a real thing when they enter that stage of life. And like you're saying, if they desire to do that, as long as they can allow that. And that too is supporting them. I love that. Thank you for that comment. Because if they're able to do the small things, then allow it. Like sometimes I'll say, Mom, you want me to come pick you up? And she said, no, I'll drive myself. And in my mind, I'm going, I can just pick you up because I'm honored to do it. But then there's that. If she wants to drive herself and she can, praise the Lord. You're right. So let us be mindful of that. Sometimes we don't want to intrude over their independence, and they have it. Good point. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Thank you for those who are engaged with us. That's what the plug here is about. It's about, we're not the experts. We are here to support, to encourage, and connect you to the power. God is the power, but we know that we are the resources. We need one another. It's community. Yes. Okay. I want to show a video. And in this video that I'm going to show, but before I show this video, I'm going to read this comment from Candace. Candace says, the conversations are hard, but after you feel prepared. You're right. The conversations are hard. Hard conversations. We need to have hard conversations in every stage of life. We're talking about parents and parents. If we start having hard conversations early with children, then the adolescents, teens, young adults, the bridge group, there will be, us. The senior saints, then it won't be that difficult if we start. But if we just start having conversations, that's why I think they get harder. You're right, Candace. And she was saying that for her, it lifts the stress and it gave her a little bit more peace. It's one less thing to worry about after you have the hard conversation. I like that. One less thing to worry about. Yes, one less thing to worry about. Let's think of it this way. Remember, I talked about the 3-to-1 rule. 3 things that are going right, 3 things that you can have, give praise for, 3 things that you can look at your life and say, this is working, this is working. Even in this season, what's working? Is the schedule working? Do we need to do something different? What's working to that one challenge? That one challenge may be that conversation about financial documentation. But always start with what's working. Always start with praise. Always start with what is God doing that we can see and we can offer praise. What's praiseworthy? What's valuable? What's working? And sometimes that could be just the encouragement to the ones that's giving the care in our families. The one that's often there, maybe more siblings, it may be just one. Like in my case, being a only child. But I thank God for a slew of sisters and brothers God has given me. And I just want to thank Catalay for all her comments and for her support. Remember, if you have any comments, any questions for me, please put them in the chat and we'll post them. Thank you again, Candace, for that. Okay, we're going to watch the video. And this video is actually it's kind of a prerequisite to a resource. If you look at the video, it's to help you get a resource. So if you got a pen and paper, that's old school. If you got your phone, speak in it, text, or whatever you're gonna do, get the message for this resource because it's global. It's a global resource. I encourage you to take the information and let us step out. Don't be so closed and step out. Sometimes we say we don't have help, but we got to step out our comfort zone and get the help we need because there are resources out here. All right, here's the video.
Family Caregiver Alliance, we understand the role caregivers play and how hard you work to provide the support friends and family deserve. That's why we built CareNav, a free online tool designed to help you navigate the complexities of the caregiving journey. After a quick sign-up process, you'll receive a personalized dashboard full of resources for your unique caregiving situation. Browse fact sheets, educational videos, and recorded webinars on popular caregiving topics like dementia, self-care, legal matters, and more. Locate support services near you, wherever you live across the U.S. Find comfort, compassion, and companionship with other caregivers who know what you're going through. Join online and in-person classes and events where you'll gain new skills, learn ways to reduce stress, and make connections with people who understand you. No matter where you are in your caregiving journey, CareNav offers the right resources at the right time, all in one convenient place. You don't have to navigate the caregiving journey alone. We're here to help. Learn more and sign up for CareNav today.
CareNav, and that's Family Caregiver Alliance, and you can go to their website. It's caregiver.org, and like I said, it's a resource that has a plethora of things for self-care, just information that you may want to read up on and how you can get support. We can go all over the world now with technology, so you can connect with others who are already going through the journey. They're in the journey, but already come out of the journey, one phase or another. So we will give you another list of resources before we end our conversation today. But what I want to do, I want to ask questions. I want to take a time for our audience to engage. So what I want to do is to invite those who are on, the senior saints. If you are a senior saint and you're on with us today, could you put in the chat or have somebody to help you put in the chat? That's fine. What is your greatest fear about aging? That's the first question. That's to the senior saints. But also this question is to all of us. Those who are caregivers to your parents now, what is the most difficult challenge? That's your question. What's the most difficult challenge? And we want to just kind of spend time right here with comments and questions so we can do what we said we're going to do. Support one another. How we support, we're having conversations right now. Here is a question, and you all can answer. It's not just me. Remember that we're connected together. If you have multiple children, how do you decide on who will be the main caretaker, the financial supporter, etc.? What age should you have that conversation? I'm going to read that question again. If you have multiple children, how do you decide who will be the main caretaker, financial supporter, etc., etc.? And what age should you have that conversation? Well, I'm going to comment, and if you got an answer to the question, please feel free to do that. The first part of this question, how do you decide who will be the main caretaker? I believe I was going to say that same thing, Calais. Have a family meeting. Have a come to Jesus meeting. Have a family meeting. And I think unanimously, I can't even get that word out, as a majority, the majority get together and talk about who has the time, who's available, and who's going to be committed because you got to talk about, that's the hard question, because all of us, I believe, as children, you love your mom or your dad and you want to help, you would think, right? I've heard some stories, good, bad, and ugly, but that's why it's different for each family. But having a family meeting would be key. That would be your first step. Here's another answer. Here's a comment. If they've been decent or good parents to the kids, they should have nothing to worry about on that part. So what I believe Braxton the Snake is saying, that you all love them. So it's the matter of just taking which role. You get this, I get this. That's a good observation of that. Anybody else? That's what I would say, have a family meeting. And then let's be honest. Now, this is the part we don't like to talk about it. Now, who has the skill set to do the finances? Who has the skill set to meal prep or cook? Or who has the skill set to connect, mainly making phone calls, calling this person for mom or dad? Skill set's important. Because let me just make it plain. If I'm the sister who is not responsible with my own money, you gonna want me to be over mama money? Let's just make it plain. Let's make certain that everybody that's involved has the bandwidth of the capacity to carry out past our emotions. Because like I said, and like someone commented, we all should want to do it, yes, but can we do it? Do we have the bandwidth, the capacity to do it? Because if you already have 4 jobs, but you're saying you can be able to care for mom, that has happened too in some stories, and then you don't want to tap in and then have to tap out because somebody else has doing something else. Here's somebody else. Milani says, I don't mind taking care of my parents as long as they're always taking care of themselves. I'm not enabling poor habits and addictions. That's a good one. I'm not enabling poor habits and addictions. And that's where that assertiveness may have to come in. That's a whole nother conversation, because though we're talking about, I've mentioned on the show today, dementia or Alzheimer, let's talk about addiction. That's a sickness too. And just a short story, and being very transparent, my father, whom I loved, died in 1992. My father was an alcoholic. He had esophagus cancer. I say that, but when he was alive, and I was young, I probably was in my 20s, he asked me to take him. This is going to date me, across the bridge. We don't have the bridge. You ain't got to go across it no more. Well, take him across the bridge. And just to her point, Melania's point about enabling, I said to him, this when the buses was running, and I said, I ain't taking you across the bridge. And I had family members, they ridiculed me about that. But I was like, Melania was like, I'm not going to, condone what you're doing. I'm not going to help to take you out. That's an assertive move. I think that's an excellent comment, because as a caregiver of, depending on what type of illness or sickness, or even if it's mental health, that means we have to do our homework, be knowledgeable, but we need to still have a family meeting. Thank you, Cadillac and Melania, for that, and Diane for those comments. I think that's excellent. Someone that says, saying, I think it's an African proverb. Yeah, we talked about that early on at the beginning of the show, Braxton. Thank you. He said, once a parent, twice a child. Excellent. Yes. And he said you weren't going to support his abuse of alcohol. Was not. Can't support it. Everybody, you know what we need to learn? Honor people's choices. I'm going to say that again. Honor your parents' choice. I was honoring We talked about early on about respect. Well, the scripture talked about respect. You see, I respected my father, that I honored his choice. That wasn't my choice. Honor his choice. How do you handle that same decision, caretaker finances, when you have a blended family? The blended family. That's a question that keeps coming up. The blended family. We're gonna have to make sure that we come back to that conversation. But right now, to that question, what if you got blended family? How do you handle the finances? How do you handle caregiving with a blended family? Well, this is what comes to mind. If your family is blended during this season, when you're having to make a decision to care for a parent, go back to the beginning about how the family became blended, how you navigated through the blendedness, meaning have you shown support and love to one another to your blendedness? Well, now go back to let's have a family meeting, because now it's we are family. Yeah. I got all my sisters and my brothers with me. We all family. So we need to have that family meeting. We should not let the blendedness, now that we are in a moment or a season where our parents needs us, not need just the biological, need just the blended. The parent needs us. Let us not start putting labels. That's where we get in trouble sometimes. We start saying, I'm the sister, I'm the oldest, and what about I'm the supporter? What can we do? Let us go in with a different approach. I'm not saying that's easy. And like you'll hear me often say about any topic, it's case by case. You cannot cookie cutter. It's not one size fit all. It's one size fits what fits your family as you have that family meeting. And a family that prays together. Start there, y'all. Start with prayer. Okay. We got to do what's best for them. Yes, yes. Yeah, we'll cut up and start throwing labels. And this is very, let us be real. It's very, tension will come because we're loving on our parents and the reality of where our parents are in this stage and what's happening. All these things are happening in our minds and even in our hearts. And so this is the reason for the pause, to pause and pray and have that meeting, because if not, we'll start acting out of impulse and anxiety and anxiousness and all our stuff, and we'll forget what's important. The parent is important. We'll put aside all of our labels and roles and who gonna do this. Let's put it aside and see what's best. Let's think of it this way, y'all. Remember, we opened up with once an adult, twice a child. I've sat in tables, I've sat in rooms, and I've done this even for my own children. We said that we need to discuss what's best for kids when we're dealing with children, right? Twice a child. What's best for mama? What's best for daddy? What's best for uncle? That's how we do children. Think of it in those terms. What's best for them? Not what I think or what my preferences are. What is best for mama at this time? What is best for daddy at this time? Because your dad, your mama, your aunt, your uncle, your legal guardian, your foster parent, they did what was best for us. Right? So let us do that. What's best for them? All right. Y'all got some good comments. I thank y'all for commenting and supporting one another. Braxton says the youngest or middle child could be the best candidates. And in other situations, it stretches outside the immediate family. And it could be a cousin or even a family friend. It happens. Yes. Now, I got one. Let me submit this to you on that note, Braxton. What if the youngest isn't the best candidate? Because I think in situations, the youngest may not be. And you know what else? What I've learned, and y'all can comment on this, we really sometimes we might have had a family meeting and all the things are in order, and then let's say it happens, God calls our parent home, or not even that. Let's say the parent now has gone into another phase of possibly their sickness, and the person that we put in charge has now had a mental breakdown, or not just mental, an emotional breakdown, and they can't do it. What do we do then? We got to change the goal. We got to be flexible. So I, to your point, it could be the youngest of the middle, but it may not be. We don't know sometimes until the thing happens, but we are going to prepare, have the conversations now, and trust that God will give us grace in those spaces. And then if we make it to see that age, the rich age of being a seasoned saint, that God would provide us the same, because the seed you sow will come back to you. So hopefully and preferably, we're sowing seeds of care and support and love to our loved ones so that you and I can reap a harvest the same way. Because what measure you love on them is the measure you'll get it back. Yes, sir. I just had to say that, y'all. All right. So parenting, parents, a topic that is not often discussed, but we're going to make it our business here on the plug to remember that our seasoned saints, they paved the way. The least we could do as believers is to give a helping hand to those who are caregivers at this time. Well, I'm going to provide you some more resources like the video showed, so that you, if you came on a little later and you didn't get an opportunity to see the video, I want you to take advantage of the website so you can go to it. And if it's not you, share the wealth, share it with someone who is possibly being a caregiver.
Family Caregiver Alliance. We understand.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to show you these resources. All right, here they are. It's two resources. One is called the seniorsource.org, and the other one is caregiver.org. The seniorsource.org. It has a plethora of information there for you. And then you have caregiver.org. Those are two resources that you will be able to use. The seniorsource.org and caregiver.org. And let us be reminded here on the plug, we are here to support our seniors, our youth, our families. And that's, if you'll see down at the bottom of the screen, if you can benefit from what you're hearing on the plug, if I've said something, if you've seen something that's of value for you and your family, well, by all means, if the Lord places it up on your heart, put 5 on it, because God has put 5 on it for you and me. That's grace. That's just grace. Thank God for his grace. And we're going to thank all of you. I want to thank all of you. I want to thank Black Man, the Unfiltered. Listen, Black Man Unfiltered Network, his whole team, for what they've done here, the behind the scene. I want to thank all of you that joined me last week and today. I appreciate your encouragement. I appreciate your text messages and your emails and your DMs and all of the ways that you've encouraged the plug. You are appreciated. Let us work together to do great things for our community, because who's going to help us? We going to help us. So here's how you can get in touch with me. The plug, you can email me at thepluglady2020@gmail.com. You can please let us know what topics you want discussed, any questions, and we will do our best to send you the resources. Remember where you can meet us now, right back here every Sunday at 5. See, that's that 5. 5 for grace. Be right back here on next Sunday at 5 p.m. Remember, we are here to give grace, to give inspiration, to give support to children, to families who are homeless, who need mental, who need hope, y'all, who need clothing, shelter. That's what we're here to do, to plug in to the power source being God, and we being resources and connecting one with another. Until next time, make sure you plug in to the power living under God. I am Felicia Williams. Thank you.